Hi, everybody. I'm Barbara Kellogg, she, her, and I'm representing the Leadership Development Committee. And I know you've all been waiting with bated breath to find out who won the election. And let me just say that all candidates for the Board of Trustees, for the Leadership Development Committee, and for the Committee on Right Relations were overwhelmingly elected. So thank you all. And I'm going to let Tim, as our board representative, announce the results from the budget and from the bylaws. Are you prepared to do that?
So you'll recall that the bylaws were broken down into multiple. It wasn't just like one vote for everything. There were multiple motions for individual components, and each one passed. And you remember we broke, Section 40, Section 45, and all of that. And then, like Barbara said, all the candidates were majority elected. The Board of Trustees, there were 125. LDC, there was 126. And Committee on Right Relations, there were 127. Basically, everything was 125 people plus or minus on all the motions, all the candidates. The one exception was the budget. You'll remember we had, for the first time, we had two budgets. One had a bigger deficit than the second, and the second one had less of a deficit, which translated to being there would be more cuts. And the first budget won, and the count was 107, and there were 26 on the second budget. So again, that's 133. That's, it looks like we basically had 130 people voting on everything, which would have been a quorum, or which would have been a necessary number of people. And then you'll recall also that we started the meeting last Sunday, and we announced that we would be adjourning the meeting this week. And so, lacking a gavel, I'll just pound and say that last week's meeting is adjourned. And we can. And everything, all these results will be in the minutes from, basically, the minutes from last week's meeting are complete, except that we need to incorporate all of these results. And then those annual meeting minutes will be published and for the whole congregation to see. Thank you.
Good morning and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church in Eugene. My name is Heidi Gould. My pronouns are she, her. I have short silver hair and glasses, and I'm wearing a bright pink and white tie-dyed dress today. And I am this morning's worship associate. A special welcome to our Zoom friends and visitors who are joining, thanks to the ongoing work of our tech team. For some of you, Zoom Church is the safest and best option, and we're so glad you are with us. If you are visiting with us for the first time, I hope you picked up a copy of this handy guide to Sunday worship. If you need one, you can get a copy at the entrance, or you can raise your hand and ask Christine for a copy. Also, the handy guide to Sunday worship tells you where the low stimulation room is, how to get a Braille hymnal, hearing assistance, and so much more. Our greeters have copies for you, again, if you raise your hand, if you so desire to have one. There is a welcoming room in our sun-drenched south foyer over there. It's a place for both visitors and longtime members to meet and greet one another. And another important part of our welcoming is the hospitality we extend in the form of friendly greetings, warm smiles, and asking people their names and coffee. I'd like to remind you that volunteering to Sunday morning coffee duty is an easy, fun way to meet a lot of people and to serve the community. Have you noticed that the same people are in the kitchen Sunday after Sunday? They need a day off. So please look for the Sign Up Genius on our website and our weekly email, or ask Colin in the office, who works nearly every Sunday morning, again in the office. Now I invite you to settle in to a time of centering, arriving, and opening. The flaming chalice has been a symbol of the Unitarian Universalist faith since it was used during World War II to help people escape danger and persecution. The cup and the flame represent many things. Today, may the cup hold us all in love, and may the flame be a beacon. The chalice lit among us is a beacon of hope in a world of crisis, a beacon of possibility made manifest in community, a beacon of warmth through our interconnections, a beacon of light illuminating our shared wisdom, a beacon of connection by our being together. And now let us say together the words of our mission, which affirm our shared purpose. Powered by love, we transform ourselves and serve our world.
Hello, everybody. I'm Jen Youngsun, and I'm the minister that serves this wonderful congregation. I use pronouns she and her. And for anyone who would be helped by a visual description, I am wearing my longish, blackish, whitish hair down, and I'm wearing a kind of black floral top. And I forgot to grab my stole, so I'm not wearing my stole today. I'm very happy that you're all here, and very happy to greet our Zoom friends. Thank you for being here. So, was it weird attending our denomination's General Assembly on Zoom? Well, not a little, not really. Did I miss traveling up and down the hallways of a humongous convention center, seeing all the church banners hanging from the walls and running into people I haven't seen in decades? Oh, yeah, a little bit. Did I miss the live GA band, the fabulous singers and preachers, and the unmatched experience of singing familiar hymns with thousands of UUs? Absolutely, I did. This year, our collective, ongoing work to increase accessibility led us to deciding to have an all-virtual General Assembly. The Unitarian Universalist Association meets every year in the largest gathering of UUs around the world that we do every year. This year, it was held entirely online. It was held in living rooms and RVs, yurts, and churches all over the world. President Sophia Bentoncourt and the UUA board and the staff that planned this incredible online experience, I thought, held a very, very good annual meeting this year, and they solidified my trust in our national leadership. I left the experience this week feeling grateful for them and for the delegates who showed up with love at the center of their words and love at the center of their actions. We did have some very challenging, occasionally upsetting discussions about the changes to Article 2 and the 3 actions of immediate witness, including one about solidarity with Palestine. We discussed a responsive resolution in support of the remaining hostages held since October the 7th. The result of those particular votes
just came in this morning, and I'm here to let you know that the General Assembly affirmed the changes to Article 2 by 80%. The delegates also overwhelmingly passed all 3 of the actions of immediate witness and that responsive resolution. They also passed unanimously, almost unanimously, a business resolution saying that, quote, embracing transgender, non-binary, and intersex people is a fundamental expression of UU religious values. During these discussions that took place all on Zoom, some people repeated statements that were untrue and unverifiable. Others said things that were hurtful to those who were listening or reading the captions on the screen. Process observers stopped the conversation to remind us of our covenants, and chaplains tended to those who said, ouch. The delegates from our own congregation will be scheduling a listening circle to share their experiences of this first ever virtual GA. Till then, you can find some of the content on the UUA website, and you can talk to some of us who were there. But we will go into the details of these votes sometime, hopefully this summer, maybe the fall. We'll see. In addition to the business sessions, I also attended daily meetings of UUs who wanted to talk about staffing strategies and staffing challenges. So I entered those sessions, that first session actually, I entered that first session really wanting a solution to UUCE's financial predicament. The predicament that we don't have enough income to sustainably staff this organization. So I went in there wanting a technical fix for our budget. I came eager for answers, solutions, and then I was reminded that before falling in love with a solution, we might be better served by falling in love with the problem. Ask questions, and then ask more questions. Questions like, how is it that churches and synagogues, masjids, temples, how did they get to the place where professional paid staff is essential when you get to be of a certain size? I mean, in the days of yore, right, there was the clergy man who was paid, and then his spouse who was not, but she often did much of the work. And maybe there was a part-time secretary, but all of the other tasks and responsibilities were held by the congregation, right? Over time, more people turned their attention to work and family matters, and fewer volunteers were able to give as much time to their religious communities. But at the same time, church as a nonprofit organization became more complex. Today, volunteer leaders really have to be fairly computer savvy. Then there's this whole area of legal compliance, right? Workplace safety, wage and hour laws, protection for minors, employment taxes, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and et cetera. And so over the years, congregations have invested in professional staff. The downside of relying on paid staff is that the community can easily grow over-reliant on staff, and that could lead to a diminished sense of ownership and investment by the members. And this is something that I really want to pay close attention to this year. Now, One of the upsides of having professional staff is that staff drives growth, period. That's a fact. Without Ryan, Imani, Mel, Sam, Eli, there is no way that we could have 75 registered children and youth in our program, in our religious exploration program. Staff drives growth. And that leads me to more questions. Growth for what? Growth for whose benefit? So these are some of the questions that our all-church visioning process is asking. Where do we come from? What are we all about? Where are we going? And how shall we shape the story that future generations are going to tell about us? Today, we will present a slightly shorter service so that you can have a snack break, and then at 11 o'clock, we're going to meet with our consultant, the Reverend Dr. Anna Hall. Now, if you are visiting today or just starting to check out this spiritual community, you may be thinking that this is like an insider baseball conversation, right? Just for long-term established members. I tell you, this time of year tends to be full of inside baseball, a lot of talk about annual meetings and bylaws and budgets and elected officers and reflections about where we've been and where we're going. It can start to feel a little exclusive if you're a relative newcomer. But I'll tell you that actually today's presentation by Dr. Hall will be an excellent introduction to this congregation and an introduction to our closest neighbors here in Jefferson West Side and Far West. So I hope you will stay. We've got lots of snacks. So come, let us learn to fall in love with the questions. Come, let us worship together. So this is our candle of life, and we light this today for Susie Brown, who died on Friday, June the 14th. There will be a memorial service at Cascade Manor for her on Saturday, July the 13th at 2 o'clock. This is for Susie. In any way that you pray, in any language, with any gesture, I invite you into a time of prayer or meditation. O Holy One, there are so many names for you, the divine, the cosmic light, spirit of life, source of eternal love. Here is the truth of our hearts, known only to me and the spirit of life. Here is the truth of my heart. Search my heart and know me. Hear my confession. Hear my desire. Hear my plea. Hear my gratitude. Last year, your Board of Trustees engaged in a in a visioning process and engaged a consulting firm called Convergence to help our congregation in a year-long process. Convergence supports congregations engaged in moving from being an organized religion to an organizing religion, driven by the values of an inclusive, progressive, theological vision for a just world for all. This spring, many of you took the first steps in that visioning journey by completing the survey. That survey measured our congregational vitality by asking some questions. Who have we been? Who are we now? Where could we be heading? And boy, did you respond. We got back 190 responses, which gives us a really good sample size. So thank you very much. While you were completing those surveys, the visioning team went out into the Eugene, Springfield, and beyond area to meet with some of our community leaders. And we asked them some questions. How have you seen our city change over time? How might we make our communities stronger? And how do you think our particular church could make a positive difference in our community? Now, I have to admit that some of us, like me, got a late start with these interviews, but they've been so much fun. I've got more scheduled, and I'm just going to keep doing them. If you have connections with our wider community's leadership, or you're interested in having conversations like this with our neighbors, asking them about their vision for serving our region better, the visioning team welcomes you to join us. You know, right now we find ourselves missing the voices from the for-profit business sector. This summer and fall, you are going to have several opportunities to support this visioning process and to lend your voice to shaping UUCE's story. The next step includes some webinars and some education that will help us to understand the broader context and trends in which this church operates. And then on Sunday, September the 22nd, you will be invited to an hours-long workshop called the Futures Lab, where you can share your imagination and dreams and visions. Eventually, the visioning team will gather up your ideas and draft a written plan. So I've been talking a lot about this visioning team, and I think it's about time you met them.
Good morning. It's not me. I am not the visioning team. My name is Steve Kuzma. I use the pronouns he and him, and I am an at-large member of your board of trustees. We, the board, selected this group of congregants because they are curious, future-oriented, comfortable with some chaos, respectful of process, and team-oriented. So please come forward as I call your name. Emily Sissel, Stephanie Dorman, Andrew Emmett, who's also a member of the Board of Trustees, and Judy Shaw. We have a button identifying them as a member of this team. Ask them questions. You can ask your board members questions as well. Izzy Kreka, Ryan Doppelmayr, and Rev Jen are the 3 staff members of this team. You could ask them questions too. Going forward, we're going to need a few more members to join this team, and then you could get a button too. A meaningful, shared vision for the future of our church calls for an active commitment to this process from all of us. I invite you to join me in this covenant with the visioning team and with each other. Please say it aloud with me. We gather to engage in congregational life, doing the work necessary to ensure that this community thrives. We covenant to support each other in the tasks of dreaming and discernment. We pledge to be open-hearted, responsive, and courageous with each other. We strive to hold chaos, discomfort, uncertainty, and the mistakes with good in faith and an intention to remain connected. We welcome this shared commitment within and beyond our community. May it be so.